Hey folks, welcome back. Ever heard the saying, you never miss the water till the well runs dry? Well, I've tweaked it a bit to say, you never miss a person till they're off the grid and living their best life without you. Think about it. Have you ever wondered what really happens in someone's head when you disappear without a trace? Not a taking a break kind of move, but a full-on poof, like a magician vanishing into thin air. Now, my friends, this isn't just some random drama move. Oh no, this is a power play, a statement. You've been there for them like a comfy couch they lounge on whenever they please. But when you vanish, it's like yanking that couch away mid-lounge. Bam! They're on the floor wondering what just happened. And let me tell you, they'll feel it. Why? Because people get cozy with the idea of you always being there. You're like Wi-Fi. Nobody thinks about you until you're gone. Then it's all, why isn't it working? What am I supposed to do now? They've taken your presence for granted, and when you disappear, it's not just a loss, it's a wake-up call. So, are you ready to dive deep into this? Because what's coming next is about to shake things up in ways you didn't expect. Go ahead, hit that like button under this video, and hey, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it. Now, let's keep it real. Have they been treating you like you're a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, or more like a 24/7 vending machine that just dispenses care, love, and support whenever they hit the button? Yeah, thought so. And here's the kicker. When you stop being their personal emote snack bar, they'll notice. Oh, they'll notice. Picture this. You've been holding them up like a sturdy ladder, letting them climb higher, while they forget you're the one holding the whole thing together. Then one day, you step back. They stumble, they panic, and suddenly you're not just a ladder. They're realizing you were the whole foundation. It's like gravity. They didn't appreciate it until they were floating in a mess of their own making. Listen, disappearing isn't about being mean or manipulative. It's about saying, hey, I'm not an option, I'm the priority. If you can't see that, then it's time for you to feel what life is like without me in it. It's like when you lose your keys. You didn't appreciate those little jingling heroes until you're locked out in the rain, soaking wet, thinking, how did I let this happen? The silence you leave behind isn't just empty space. It's a giant neon sign screaming, you messed up. And trust me, that silence is louder than any argument or text they ignored. Here's a fun thought. Imagine your ice cream on a hot summer day. They've been licking away like it's no big deal, not even thinking about the flavor. But then, you're gone, melted, vanished. Suddenly, they're craving you like never before, wishing they'd paid more attention while you were there. That's the vibe we're going for here, folks. So, what happens when you go off the radar? It's like flipping the script in a movie. 1 minute, they're the star, and the next, they're stuck in the background, wondering how you stole the spotlight. They'll replay every moment in their head, trying to figure out where it all went wrong, like a detective solving the case of, why did I mess up my best connection? And let's be clear, this isn't about being petty or vindictive. It's about valuing yourself. It's about stepping back and saying, if you can't treat me right, you don't get to have me around. Mark Twain said it best. The best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. Well, I'd say the best way to shake someone up is to show them what life looks like when you're not bending over backward to please them. Let them miss you. Let them feel the gap you leave behind, because that's when they realize they weren't just missing your presence, they were missing out on you. All right, my friends, here's where it gets juicy. Are you ready for this? Let's unravel the 9 things they'll feel when you vanish without a trace. Trust me, they'll never see it coming. What happens next will leave them reeling, questioning everything and craving the space you once filled. Stick around, because this is the game changer you've been waiting for. Curious? You should be. Now, here's a fun task. Oh no, scratch that. No more fun. Let's get serious, folks. Here's your challenge. Drop the phrase, I accept the challenge, in the comments if you're ready to claim your worth and stop chasing what doesn't serve you. And don't keep this wisdom to yourself. Hit that like button to help spread it to more people out there looking for help. Subscribe and share this with someone who needs the wake-up call. You're not alone in this. We're in this together, flipping the script and rewriting the rules. Let's break the cycle and remind the world just how irreplaceable you are. Ready? Let's dive in. Number 1, the gut punch of rejection, when your absence becomes their wake-up call. All right, my friends, here's where the story begins. You step away, no warning, no explanation, just silence. And what's the first thing they feel? Rejection. Not your run-of-the-mill rejection, but the kind that stings like stepping barefoot on a Lego at midnight. Yeah, that kind. It's the gut punch they never saw coming, the kind that leaves them reeling, questioning everything they thought they knew. Why does it hit so hard? Because they never thought you'd leave. They had this comfy little belief that you'd always be there, orbiting their world like a loyal satellite. But now the satellite's gone rogue. They're left staring at the empty sky, wondering what went wrong. It's a shock to their system, a rude awakening that shakes the foundation of their ego. Here's the kicker. They might try to play it cool at first. You know the drill, the indifferent facade, the I'm fine act, the shrug that says, whatever. But inside, oh, it's a whole different story. Inside, they're a mess. That feeling of being left behind is like a splinter in their mind they can't get rid of. They start asking themselves questions they don't want to answer. Did I push too hard? Was I too distant? Did I miss my chance? The sting of rejection doesn't just hurt. It lingers, haunting them in the quiet moments when no one else is watching. Now let's paint a picture here. Imagine you're the sun, shining bright, giving warmth, energy, and life. They bask in your glow, maybe even take it for granted. Then, one day you're gone. Darkness, cold. They're stumbling around, bumping into things, realizing just how much they relied on your light. That's the power of your absence. It forces them to see what they lost when they stopped appreciating you. And this isn't just about them, it's about you. Let's be honest for a second. You were scared to leave, scared they'd forget you, replace you, move on without a second thought. That fear kept you stuck in a cycle where you gave and gave while they took you for granted. But here's the truth. Your worth doesn't depend on their recognition of it. Walking away wasn't just a choice, it was liberation. The sting of rejection they feel now is a reflection of the value they failed to see when they had you. Steve Maraboli nailed it when he said, "The most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much and forgetting that you are special too." Sound familiar? You've been there, pouring your energy into someone who treated it like an endless supply. But now the tables have turned. They're the ones feeling the emptiness. And that's the beauty of this moment. It's not about revenge or hurting them. It's about reclaiming your power and remembering that you deserve more. Of course, this won't be easy. Stepping away feels heavy at first, like shedding a skin you've worn for too long. The fear whispers, what if they don't care? What if they move on? But let me tell you something, that fear is a lie. Your absence isn't just noticed, it's felt. You've left a void they can't ignore. And whether they admit it or not, it stings like nothing they've felt before. Here's the affirmation you need to hold on to in this moment. I am more than enough, and I will never settle for being someone's backup plan. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments right now. I am more than enough. Let the world know you're done begging for attention or validation. You are the sun, the light, the energy, and if someone can't see that, they don't deserve to stand in your glow. And this, my friends, is just the beginning. The sting of rejection. It's only the first ripple in the wave of realizations they're about to face. Trust me, The journey ahead gets even more intriguing. Stay tuned, because what's coming next is going to flip their world upside down. Are you ready? Let's keep going. Number 2, the empty chair they can't ignore when your absence becomes their reality. All right, let's dive deeper, my friends. After the sting of rejection, here comes the big one. The aching emptiness of missing you. Oh, they might act tough at first, shrugging it off like it's no big deal. Maybe they even tell themselves, "I'm fine, I didn't need them anyway." But deep down, that's a lie they can't even sell to themselves. Here's the truth. When you're gone, it's not just your physical presence they miss. It's the energy, the care, the light you brought into their life. You were their go-to, their constant, their "how was your day" text, and their late-night confidant. Now it's radio silence. And let me tell you, that silence isn't golden. It's deafening. Think about it. You were the one who always showed up. You gave your time, your attention, your care without hesitation. But now there's a gap, a chair at the table they never noticed until it was empty. It's like walking into a room and realizing the warm glow of a lamp has been replaced by cold, stark darkness. That's what your absence feels like to them, a void they can't fill. And here's the thing about emptiness. It doesn't just sit there quietly. It grows, it expands. They'll feel it in the small moments first. Maybe it's the way their favorite song reminds them of that time you sang it off key, but hey, it was charming. Or how their coffee tastes just a little less sweet because you're not there to share it with them. It's the absence of the little things that hits the hardest. Now, let's talk about their attempts to cope. Oh, they'll try to distract themselves, hanging out with friends, diving into work, maybe even scrolling endlessly through social media. They might even tell themselves, "I'm better off without them." But you and I both know that's not how it works. The harder they try to fill the void, the more they realize it's shaped like you. Here's why. The brain craves what it can't have. It's wired that way. So the more they try to ignore the emptiness, the more they'll be drawn to it. They'll start comparing everyone they meet to you. Why doesn't this person make me laugh like they did? Why don't I feel that same connection? Spoiler alert, no one measures up. Because you're not just anyone, you're unforgettable. Now let's shift the focus to you. What are you doing during this time? You're not wallowing or waiting. Nope, you're thriving. You've redirected all that energy you used to pour into them and turned it inward. You're leveling up, focusing on yourself, and living your best life. Meanwhile, they're sitting there, staring at the metaphorical hole in their heart, wondering where it all went wrong. Let's address that little voice in your head, the one tempted to reach out to check in, to see if they've realized what they lost. Don't give in. Let them sit with the emptiness. Let them feel the full weight of what it means not to have you in their world. This is their lesson to learn, not yours to teach. As Steve Maraboli once said, you can't change someone who doesn't see an issue with their actions. Your absence is the mirror they need to face their own behavior. By stepping back, you're giving them the opportunity to realize the depth of their loss. And trust me, they will realize it. The emptiness of missing you is not something they can just brush aside. It's a weight they'll carry until they come face to face with the truth. They underestimated your value. Now let's ground ourselves in some affirmations, because let's face it, this process isn't always easy. First, I am whole without them. Say it, write it, believe it. You don't need their attention, their validation, or their presence to feel complete. You are enough just as you are. Their emptiness, that's their burden, not yours. Here's another one for you. I release the fear of being replaced. Because, let's be honest, that fear is what kept you holding on for so long. But here's the truth, you're not replaceable. You're a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, and no one else can bring to the table what you do. So let go of that fear and stand in your power. Now, let's make it official. Go ahead and write this affirmation in the comments. I am whole without them. This is your declaration. You're not chasing their approval, and you're certainly not filling the emptiness for them. Let them feel it. Let them sit with it. And when they come back, and believe me, they will, you'll be the one holding the power. But here's the best part, my friends. This is just the beginning. The emptiness of missing you, it's just the second wave. There are still so many realizations ahead that will shake them to their core. So stay with me, because what's coming next is going to flip the script even further. Ready? Let's keep going. Number 3, the puzzle they can't solve. When curiosity becomes their obsession, all right, folks, here's where things start to get really interesting. After they've felt the sting of rejection and the hollow ache of missing you, something else creeps in, slow but steady. Curiosity. And not just a fleeting thought like, oh, I wonder how they're doing. No, this is the kind of curiosity that gnaws at them, keeps them awake at night, and turns their thoughts into a never-ending game of what if. At first, they'll play it cool. Maybe they tell themselves, I don't care what they're up to, or it's probably nothing. But deep down, that's a lie they can't even sell to themselves. Because here's the truth. Curiosity is a relentless little creature, sneaking into the quiet corners of their mind, whispering questions they can't ignore. What are you doing? Who are you with? Are you happier now? The questions come fast and hard, and no matter how much they try to shake it off, it sticks. Let's be real. They were used to having a front row seat to your life. Whether it was through texts, calls, or social media posts, they knew your moves, your mood, your everything. Now, they've been shut out, and that silence is deafening. It's like suddenly being locked out of a room they used to have full access to. And what happens when people lose access? They want it back, desperately. Imagine this. They pick up their phone, expecting to see a message from you. Nothing. They check again an hour later, then before bed, then first thing in the morning. Still nothing. That emptiness grows into frustration, and frustration morphs into curiosity. Why did you stop reaching out? Did they do something wrong? Are you seeing someone else? Their mind races, crafting scenarios that range from mildly curious to full-blown paranoid. Now, if this is someone new, the confusion is even sweeter. One moment, you were giving them your attention, chasing their approval, making sure they knew you were interested. Then, like a magician pulling a disappearing act, poof, you're gone. And now they're left wondering if they miscalculated. Did they lose control of the dynamic? Are they no longer the center of your attention? Their curiosity spirals into obsession, and every time their phone buzzes, they secretly hope it's you. Spoiler alert, it's not. For someone from an old relationship, the stakes are even higher. They thought they knew you inside and out, your routines, your habits, your life. It was all familiar territory. But now that map they had of you is obsolete. Who's in your life now? Who's making you laugh, bringing you joy, taking up the space they used to fill? The idea of someone else stepping into their shoes is unbearable, and the mystery of your absence eats away at them like termites in an old wooden chair. Here's the funny part. The more they try to figure you out, the less they can. They'll stalk your social media, casually ask mutual friends about you, or scroll through old messages, trying to piece together where it all went wrong. But guess what? You're not leaving any breadcrumbs. No cryptic posts, no dramatic updates, just silence. And that silence, it's maddening. Meanwhile, what are you doing? You're thriving. You've reclaimed your time, your energy, and your focus. You're living your best life, untethered from their need for control or attention. And here's the beauty of it. The more you focus on yourself, the more their curiosity grows. You're no longer the open book they could skim through at their convenience. You've become the locked journey they're desperate to crack open. Curiosity, my friends, is a powerful force. It pulls them in, consumes their thoughts, and keeps them stuck in a loop of what-ifs. And here's the best part. You don't have to do a thing. You're not playing games. You're just living your life on your terms. Their obsession with your absence is their problem, not yours. Here's the affirmation to keep you grounded during this time. I am the mystery they can't solve. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments as a declaration of your power. I am the mystery they can't solve. Because that's exactly what you are now. A beautifully unsolvable puzzle, a riddle they'll keep turning over in their minds. And here's the exciting part. This curiosity, it's just the beginning. They're about to feel things they never expected, and their world is only going to get more complicated. Stay with me, because what's coming next will take this journey to a whole new level. Ready for what's next? Let's keep going. Number 4, the mirror of truth. When your absence forces deep self-reflection. All right, friends, here's where things start to shift. After the sting of rejection, the emptiness of missing you, and the relentless curiosity about what you're up to, something profound happens. They turn inward. Your absence isn't just a void anymore. It's a mirror. And when they look into it, they're forced to confront the reflection of their own actions, their own choices, and their own mistakes. Let's talk about deep self-reflection and why it's the most uncomfortable but necessary phase of this journey. At first, they probably brushed off your absence. You know, the classic, "I don't care, I'll be fine without them" routine. But as time drags on and the silence grows louder, that confidence starts to crack. They sit alone with their thoughts, and that's when the questions creep in. Did I push them away? Was I too distant? Did I ignore what was right in front of me? These aren't just passing thoughts. They're the kind of questions that keep them tossing and turning at night. For someone new, this reflection is a wake-up call they didn't know they needed. They replay every moment, every interaction, trying to pinpoint where they went wrong. Maybe they were too aloof. Maybe they didn't respond with the warmth and enthusiasm you deserved. They start to see how they undervalued your efforts, how they overlooked your kindness, your energy, and your willingness to connect. Now, with you gone, those memories don't just haunt them. They become lessons. They're beginning to understand that your distance wasn't random. It was a response, a consequence of their lack of effort. In an old relationship, the self-reflection runs even deeper. The weight of shared history makes this phase almost unbearable. They start revisiting the moments where you tried to salvage what was slipping away, the times you reached out, made plans, and tried to reignite the spark. Those memories now sting with regret because they realize how often they dismissed your efforts. Why didn't I show up more? Why did I let things go stale? Why didn't I appreciate them when I had the chance? The realization hits like a freight train. They had something precious and let it slip through their fingers. And here's the kicker. This reflection isn't about you anymore. It's about them. They start to see the cracks in their own behavior, the patterns they ignored, the walls they put up. They can't shift the blame onto you anymore because deep down they know the truth. Your absence is a direct result of their actions, or worse, their inaction. This is where they confront the hardest truth of all. They weren't the person you needed them to be. Maybe they took you for granted. Maybe they thought you'd always be there no matter how little they gave in return. But now, faced with the silence you've left behind, they can no longer ignore the role they played in driving you away. It's not just about losing you, it's about seeing themselves clearly for the first time. While they're tangled in this web of self-reflection, what are you doing? You're not looking back, that's for sure. You're moving forward, focusing on your growth and refusing to be drawn back into the past. Their self-reflection isn't your responsibility. Let me say that again. Their growth is not your job. You've done the hard work of stepping away and reclaiming your power. Now it's their turn to sit in the discomfort and figure out what kind of person they want to be moving forward. Let's be real, this phase isn't easy for you either. You might feel a twinge of guilt. You might wonder if walking away was the right choice. But let me tell you something. Staying in a space where you weren't valued wasn't just hurting you, it was holding you back. The most loving thing you could do for both yourself and them was to leave. Sometimes the only way people learn is when they're forced to sit with the consequences of their actions. Here's an affirmation to keep you grounded during this phase. I reflect, but I don't regret. Repeat it, write it, believe it. Reflection is healthy. It helps you grow, evolve, and understand yourself better. But regret? That's a trap you don't need to fall into. You made the best decision for yourself, and that's what matters. And now, I want you to own this truth. Go ahead and write it in the comments. I reflect, but I don't regret. This is your declaration, your reminder that you've chosen growth over stagnation, strength over fear, and self-respect over being taken for granted. But here's the twist, my friends. This is just the beginning of their journey. Deep self-reflection is only the tip of the iceberg. What comes next? Well, let's just say the realizations get even more intense. Stick with me, because the next chapter is going to blow their minds and yours. Ready for what's next? Let's keep going. Number 5. The chase begins. When they can't resist the pull to pursue you. All right, folks, here's where the tables officially flip. After all the rejection, the emptiness, the curiosity, and the self-reflection, they reach the point where they can no longer sit still. They feel it, the urge to pursue you. And let me tell you, it's not just a passing thought or a fleeting impulse. It's like a fire that keeps growing, fueled by the realization of everything they lost. Imagine this. They've been walking around with an ego so big it barely fits through the door. They told themselves they didn't need you. They convinced themselves they were fine without your energy in their life. But now, after sitting with that emptiness and wrestling with their doubts, the urge to reach out is overwhelming. It's no longer about pride. It's about survival. The loss of you feels like a void they must fill, and they're finally ready to put in the work to do it. If this is someone new you were trying to attract, this is the moment they realize they've let something extraordinary slip through their fingers. They think back to all the ways you showed up for them, your consistency, your kindness, your energy. It starts to haunt them. What if I messed this up? What if they're really gone for good? That's when they take the first steps to pull you back into their orbit. Maybe it's a casual like on your latest post. Maybe it's a late-night text that says, "Hey, been thinking about you." Or maybe they ask a mutual friend how you're doing, trying to gauge whether they still have a chance. And let's not forget about old relationships. Oh, this is when things get real. They replay all those times you went out of your way to keep the relationship alive. The texts, the effort, the heartfelt conversations where you tried to make them see your worth. Now, in the silence you've left behind, it all clicks for them. They see the truth. You were the glue holding everything together, and now that glue is gone. Their world feels like it's falling apart. They want it back. They want you back. But here's the catch. They no longer hold the cards. The power has shifted. You've stepped back, reclaimed your energy, and stopped chasing. Now, they're the ones left chasing a connection they thought they could take for granted. The certainty they once had that you'd always be there has crumbled into uncertainty, and with that comes fear. Fear that they've lost you for good. Fear that someone else has stepped into the space they neglected. Fear that they'll never get another chance. Let me paint you a picture. You're the flame they once underestimated. They thought they could walk away and come back whenever they pleased. But now, they're the moth drawn to the light, circling, trying to figure out how to get closer without burning themselves. It's ironic, isn't it? The one who felt so in control now feels powerless. And here's where your power lies. You're not chasing. You've stopped running after people who couldn't see your worth. You're standing tall, knowing your value, and letting them come to you. The urge they feel to pursue you isn't because you begged for their attention. It's because you withdrew it. You showed them what life without you looks like, and now they can't handle it. So what happens next? That's entirely up to you. If they come back, it's on your terms, not theirs. You get to decide if their pursuit is worth your time. This isn't about playing games or being spiteful. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less. Repeat this affirmation and let it guide you. I attract. I don't chase. Say it. Write it. Believe it. Drop it in the comments below. I attract. I don't chase. Let this be your declaration to the world, to them, and most importantly, to yourself. You're no longer running after anyone. They're chasing you because they finally see what you've known all along. You're the prize, not the option. And remember, this is only the beginning of the shift. That urge to pursue you is just one part of... Number 6, the inner tug of war. When relief and regret clash. All right, folks, let's talk about the emotional wrestling match they're going through right now. A full-blown battle between relief and regret. At first, when you disappeared, they might have felt a flicker of relief. They probably thought, finally some breathing room. Maybe they even convinced themselves that your absence was for the best. Freedom to explore, to move on, or to just be alone. Oh, how naive. That sense of relief is fleeting. It's a temporary high that crashes faster than a sugar rush. Because soon enough, regret sneaks in like an uninvited guest. And it doesn't just knock, it barges through the door. It starts as a whisper. Maybe I should have tried harder. Maybe I was too distant. But whispers turn into echoes, and before they know it, regret drowns out every trace of relief they once clung to. For someone new, regret feels like fumbling a rare gem. They might have thought they were too busy or that they didn't need the attention you gave so freely. But now, they're left staring at the empty space you filled, kicking themselves for not giving you the chance you deserved. They wonder what could have been, replaying every missed opportunity in their head like a broken record. For someone from the past, the regret cuts even deeper. Maybe, at first, they felt unburdened when you walked away. They might have thought, this is better for both of us. But as time stretches on, memories rush back. Every laugh, every moment, every quiet comfort you gave. That relief they once felt is replaced by an ache they can't ignore. The regret becomes a mirror, forcing them to see just how much they took you for granted. Here's the kicker. This inner battle isn't just about emotions, it's their wake-up call. Relief may have felt like freedom at first, but now they realize that freedom without meaning is just emptiness in disguise. To keep yourself grounded in this moment, repeat this affirmation. I am more than enough. Write it in the comments and own it. Let their regret serve as a reminder of your worth. You're not just an option, you are a treasure, one they let slip away. And trust me, this realization is just the tip of the iceberg. What's coming next will shake them even more. Stay tuned, my friends. The journey is far from over. Number 7. The game they can't win when their tricks fall flat. All right, my friends, we're getting to the juicy part now. When regret takes hold, they get desperate, real desperate. Enter the classic move, the desire to play the game. It's their way of clawing for control, trying to bait you back without owning up to their mistakes. But let's be honest, they've already fumbled the ball. Here's how it starts. They act indifferent, cool as a cucumber, like losing you didn't even scratch their ego. "I'm fine," they'll tell themselves as they post their highlight reel on social media. Pictures of them laughing with friends, posing at some fancy dinner, maybe even throwing in a cryptic caption like, "Living my best life." All of it screams, "Look at me, see what you're missing." But here's the plot twist. They're not living their best life. They're living for your reaction. Every post, every move is a carefully curated attempt to get under your skin. They might even try flirting with others, making sure you see it, thinking it'll ignite some jealousy. Classic, right? But let me ask you this. Are you falling for it? Of course not. Why? Because you've retired from the game. You're not playing their chessboard of mixed signals and petty tactics anymore. While they're trying to act unbothered, you're genuinely unbothered. And that, my friends, is what drives them wild. Here's where things get even spicier. For someone new, their game is a test. They'll pretend they're fine without you, hoping you'll crack first and reach out. But every day you stay silent. Every moment you stay grounded, chips away at their confidence. It's like watching someone bluff in poker. They're sweating under the pressure, and you see right through it. For an old flame, though, oh, the games get messier. The classic hot and cold routine. "I miss you," followed by radio silence. It's their way of keeping you on edge, hoping you'll slip back into the dynamic they once controlled. But guess what? You're not biting. You've seen this trick before, and you've outgrown it. Here's the truth they don't want to face. You've already won. By stepping away, by choosing yourself, you've broken free of the cycle. Their games are nothing more than a desperate attempt to pull you back into a reality you've outgrown. And here's your power move. Repeat this affirmation with me. I no longer play games. Say it, believe it, and write it in the comments. Let the world know you've risen above the drama, above the tricks, above it all. Because when you refuse to play, you've already claimed the ultimate victory. Stay with me, because what's coming next will reveal the final pieces of their unraveling. The game might be over, but the lessons are just getting started. Ready? Let's keep going. Number 8. The deafening sound of silence. When your absence becomes unbearable. So, my friends, let's talk about the power of silence. After all the games, all the attempts to bait you back, they're left with something they never saw coming. The crushing weight of quiet. And let me tell you, that silence is louder than any argument, louder than any word you could have spoken. It's a symphony of nothingness that echoes through every corner of their mind. At first, they think they can handle it. "I'll wait them out," they tell themselves, trying to act unbothered. But day by day, the quiet starts to creep in, wrapping around them like a heavy fog they can't shake. Every moment without your text, your call, your energy is a stark reminder of the void you've left behind. And oh, it suffocates. Picture this. You've always been the one to keep things alive, the one who put in the effort, who carried the conversation, who filled the silence. But now, you've stepped back completely, and they're left staring at the emptiness where you once stood. They're not just missing your words, they're haunted by the absence of the connection you brought into their life. For someone new, this silence is a slap in the face. They were used to you being the initiator, the one who always bridged the gap. But now that you're not reaching out, they're stuck drowning in their own indecision and realizing they never appreciated how much effort you put in. In an old relationship, the silence is even heavier. They've lost the rhythm of what once was. No more late-night talks, no more shared love, not even the occasional argument to remind them you were still there. Now, they sit with the echo of every missed moment, every opportunity they let slip through their fingers. The silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to face their regrets and the reality of life without you. Here's the truth. Your silence speaks volumes. It says everything they didn't want to hear. It tells them they've lost someone irreplaceable, and the longer it stretches, the more unbearable it becomes for them. Now here's your power move. Repeat this affirmation with me. My silence speaks volumes. Say it, believe it, and write it in the comments. Let this silence be your strength. While they're struggling with the weight of what they've lost, you're standing tall, knowing your absence is louder than words. Ready for what's next? Let's keep going. Number 9, the fear that sends them crawling back. All right, folks, here's where things get really interesting. After all the silence, all the regret, and all their denial, fear grabs them by the throat. Not just a little fear, it's the fear. The kind that keeps them awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if you've moved on for good. It's the moment they realize they messed up big time, and the panic sets in. This isn't just about missing you. No, this is deeper. It's the fear that someone else has stepped in and claimed the spot they left vacant. They imagine you laughing with someone new, sharing the kind of connection they took for granted. And let me tell you that thought, it burns. It's a storm of regret and anxiety, and it's the fuel that drives them to act. For someone from your past, this fear cuts even deeper. They thought they knew you, thought they had you pegged. They were convinced you'd always stick around. But your silence? Oh, it's a wake-up call they didn't see coming. Suddenly, they're replaying every moment, every argument, every time they pushed you aside. And now they're realizing that every mistake they made is another nail in the coffin of what they had with you. And here's the juicy part. When they come crawling back, and they will, you're in control. No more chasing, no more bending over backward to prove your worth. This time, it's all on your terms. You've reclaimed your power, and they know it. That fear of losing you for good, it's not just a motivator, it's their reckoning. Here's what you need to remember. I am worth the chase. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments. Declare it to the world. You're not a fallback option. You're not an afterthought. You are the main event. And if they can't handle that, it's their loss. If this message struck a chord with you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use this reminder. Remember, your strength is in your ability to step back and let your absence speak louder than any words. Drop, keep it up, in the comments if you're ready to stand tall, hold your ground, and let them realize exactly what they've lost. Never forget, you are the prize. Stay strong, stay focused, and always own your worth. They might come back crawling, but the power to let them in is yours. Until next time, stay unstoppable.